You go blind thousands of times a day. Look at the room around you. Choose one object and keep your eyes on it. Now blink. For a fraction of a second, your eyelids blocked almost all the light entering your eyes. The object disappeared. The room disappeared. Everything you could see was interrupted. But you didn't see darkness. You didn't notice a missing moment. The world simply continued. And this happens many thousands of times every day. So where do all those missing moments go? Before we answer that, try something different. Close your eyes. Keep them closed for a few seconds. What do you see? The obvious answer is black. But look more carefully. Is it perfectly black? You may notice faint clouds moving through the darkness. Tiny dots. Brief flashes. Patches of gray, red, blue, or green. Perhaps a slow wave of color that disappears as soon as you try to focus on it. Your eyes are closed, but your visual experience hasn't stopped. That creates a strange problem. If closing your eyes produces darkness, patterns, and color, then what would seeing absolutely nothing look like? Black cannot be the answer. Black is something you see. It is a visual experience produced when very little light reaches your eyes. Nothing is not black. Nothing has no color, no brightness, no shape, no size, and no location. Try to imagine that. You probably can't. The moment you imagine a black space, you have imagined something visual. And yet, every time you blink, light entering your eyes is suddenly interrupted. A typical blink is extremely brief. But over an entire day, those tiny interruptions accumulate into minutes of missing visual information. If a screen in front of you suddenly turned black for the same amount of time, you would probably notice. But when your own eyelid causes the interruption, you usually don't. The difference begins before your eyelid has even finished closing. A blink is not an unexpected accident. Your brain helped initiate it. Because the visual system knows that a blink is coming, sensitivity to visual information is reduced around the blink. Activity changes in parts of the brain involved in vision and visual awareness. Your eyelids block the light, but your brain also reduces your awareness of the interruption. It is a coordinated event, not simply a curtain falling in front of a camera. Imagine that you are watching a film. Every few seconds, several frames are removed. If the missing frames are replaced with black frames, you notice flashes. But if those frames are removed and the scenes on either side still agree, the motion may appear to continue. Your visual system does something more sophisticated than either of these examples. But the principle is useful. It does not need to show you every instant independently. It needs to preserve a stable and useful experience of the world. The moment before a blink provides information about what is in front of you. The moment after the blink usually confirms that the world is still where it was. The table remains a table. The window remains a window. The person standing in front of you has not suddenly vanished. There is normally no reason to announce the missing interval, so your experience continues across it. You do not perceive a black interruption. You perceive continuity, but that continuity can be exploited. Watch the chair. Blink. Did it move? Changes made during a blink can be surprisingly difficult to notice, especially when they are small or when your attention is somewhere else. The brain does not inspect every detail in the scene and compare it perfectly with the previous one. It prioritizes. It tracks what appears important. It assumes that much of the world remains stable unless something gives it a reason to update that assumption. This does not mean your brain secretly records everything and then hides some of it from you. It means the detailed, continuous picture you feel you possess is partly an impression. Your visual system receives information, selects what matters, and constructs an experience that is useful enough for the next moment. A blink briefly removes new visual input, but the model of the room does not immediately collapse, nor return to the other question. What were those colors and patterns you noticed with your eyes closed? Closing your eyelids greatly reduces incoming light, but it does not deactivate your retina, your optic nerves, or your visual brain. The visual system remains alive. Retinal cells continue producing signals. Neural activity continues traveling through the system. Random fluctuations can contribute to faint visual noise. Pressure, movement, and activity within the visual system can sometimes produce the experience of light even when light did not create it. These experiences are often called phosphenes. You might notice one after gently closing your eyes, moving your eyes beneath your eyelids, or entering a dark room after looking at something bright. But do not press on your eyes to create them. Eyes are delicate, and pressure is not a safe experiment. Some closed eye colors also come from the light that still passes through your eyelids. Eyelids are not solid walls. Bright light outside them can create a warm red or orange field because tissue and blood filter the incoming light. Other shapes may be after images left by something you were viewing moments earlier. So the scene behind closed eyes can contain several things at once: reduced outside light, lingering images, and activity generated within the visual system itself. It is not a window onto the outside world, but it is not visual nothingness either. And this reveals something important about vision. Your eyes do not simply deliver a complete picture to a passive observer inside your head. The retina begins processing light before its signals have even left the eye. The brain then combines those signals with attention, memory, expectation, and information about your own movements. What you experience is not a frame-by-frame recording. It is an actively maintained interpretation. Most of the time, that interpretation is extraordinarily reliable. It lets you walk through a doorway, recognize a face, catch a falling object, and navigate a moving world. But reliability is not the same as completeness. The world you experience feels continuous because continuity is useful. A black flash during every blink would provide no helpful information. It would only interrupt everything else. So the interruption is suppressed. The scene is allowed to continue. Even more strangely, researchers have found that blinking may sometimes help visual processing rather than merely interrupt it. A blink can act like a tiny boundary between moments of attention. It may help the visual system reset, reorganize, or prepare for what comes next. We often blink at meaningful moments, at the end of an action, during a pause, or when attention shifts. Blinking is not just maintenance for the surface of the eye. It is woven into how we look at the world. So blink one more time. This time, try to catch the darkness. You know your eyelid moved. You know the light was interrupted, but the black frame still refuses to appear. The missing moment has no obvious beginning and no obvious end. It simply isn't part of your experience. And perhaps that is the strangest answer. When you close your eyes, you may see darkness, color, noise, and light produced without a visible object. But when you blink, you usually do not see your closed eyelids at all. You experience the moment before, then the moment after, and between them, not blackness, not an empty screen, just continuity. You do not see every moment of the world. You experience the version your brain manages to keep continuous. So how much do you see? And how much does your mind quietly prevent you from noticing?